Hello friends, so today's video is just going to be a little bit of a heads up about some things I'm wanting to do here on my channel for the rest of the year. I know it's kind of silly because September only just started, but I tend to plan way in advance for videos and what I'm hoping to pick up. So I just wanted to fill you in a little bit as it is going to affect how often I upload, and by that I mean I'm gonna try to upload every day. And I hope you all don't get sick of me. Obviously, you can just ignore videos you're not interested in, or if you're like, I don't want to hear her talk or see her face, you don't have to watch. But I really want to make a lot of videos going into the end of the year. There's a lot of things that I want to do dedicated reviews for, and so I wanted to give you a heads up of what I'm hoping to pick up, what I'm hoping to review, as well as just a few other types of videos I'm wanting to do, and just in general some information. So there's quite a few books that I'm wanting to do dedicated reviews for. There's a few comics that I actually want to do reviews for, and then a few manga series that I want to do reviews for. And then there's a couple of other styles of videos that I'll get into. I'm going to start with the books that I'm hoping to do dedicated reviews for, one of which is going to be Babel by R.F. Kuang. Already recorded that, need to edit it and get that ready to go. But you will see a video for Babel going up soon. Babel or Babel, I've heard it said both ways. But regardless, I will have that go up soon. There's a couple of videos, because I recently went out of town, there's a couple of videos that I had recorded way in advance that will go up this week as well. And then we'll get that review. And then hopefully we'll also have a Sheriff of Babylon review going up this week. That is a comic. I'm really excited in general to be doing some reviews for some comic books because I don't pick those up as often, but I really want to pick them up more. And I think if I plan on reviewing them, that'll kind of give me a little bit more of a kick, a little bit more of a nudge to actually do that. Sticking with the books though. So we have Babel/Babel. Ruination, I'm very excited about this one. This is, if you don't know, within the League of Legends world, which is what Arcane is in. Arcane, the amazing show that just won an Emmy, which is so exciting. But anyway, so Ruination, that's one thing I want to review. I plan to do a dedicated review for the Farseer trilogy as well as the Liveship Traders trilogy. If I can, I'd also like to get a review up for Gideon the Ninth. Seems like the perfect October read. I've been meaning to read this one for so long. So again, similar to what I said about the comics, I feel like if I tell myself you're gonna review this, then I'm trying to give myself that extra motivation to actually do it, because I keep putting this one off. You'll also be getting a Perdido Street station, not from me, but from my husband. I also am going to do an entire series review for Mistborn Era 2 when it is released, when the Lost Metal is released. I'm actually going to do a re-review now that I've reread I've read Mistborn Era 1 3 times. So I'm planning to do a dedicated trilogy review for that. And that will be non-spoiler, but I did a read-along recently with my patrons where we did reading sprints and then a live show discussion over on Patreon, and then I wanted to do some, I guess you could say almost like fandom-specific type of videos or more niche videos for that to sort of help remind you of events as you go into Mistborn Era 2. So taking a break here for a second from books I'm planning to review, just to say I'm hoping to do tier ranking videos for The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages, where I go through and tier rank a bunch of different scenes from each of the individual books. So I'm planning to do that so it's spoilery, and then I'll have a non-spoiler trilogy review. So you can check out either of those and have that be preparation for the Lost Metal. Then when the Lost Metal comes out, I'll do a quartet review, because there's 4 of those for that series. I think I'd like to have a dedicated trilogy review for the Aurelian Cycle. I didn't want to do it when that's Fireborn and Flamefall and now Fury Song, which I've talked about Fury Song. I did a vlog. I talked about it with patrons. I mentioned it in my favorites video. I mentioned it in, I've mentioned it, and I'll have a new releases video where I talk about Fury Song again. So I'm going to wait a little bit and then I'll do a dedicated video. It feels like a lot of just throwing my favorites at you all the time. So I wanted to have some distance, but I do really love that trilogy. And I know that maybe people who are not familiar with my channel or not familiar with that series, if they want to look up a review for it, that if I don't have a dedicated review for that trilogy, then that's a missed opportunity for somebody to find out more about it. So I'd like to still do a dedicated trilogy review for that one now that they're all out. It's so good. I love it so much. Daughter of the Moon Goddess came out this year. Its sequel is coming out soon. I think I'd like to do a duology review for that one. And then the last three are very popular series, but they're ones that I would like to finish up and review before the end of the year, which would be Broken Earth, Age of Madness, and the Winternight trilogy. That gets us through the books that I'm hoping to do dedicated reviews for. I also want to do reviews for comics, like I said. So I want to finally dive into Saga. This is very well loved. So many people are obsessed with this series. I don't want to do everything, and I also don't want to break it down to individual volumes. I'd like to get a decent amount of the story as I talk about it, almost like installments of a series. So I'll probably break it up every 3 volumes for that. I'll do something similar with the series Monstress, which that has, Saga has great art too, but Monstress has the most beautiful art. Oh my gosh. So I'm planning on breaking that one up by pairs. So it'll be volumes 1 and 2, probably review that, volumes 3 and 4. I've also heard it's very dense, it's very fantasy heavy, and when you first start it, you don't really know what's going on. So I almost feel like I have to read a little bit more of this one before reviewing. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to be a little bit lost. I want to make sure I get more of the story and have my feet settled in on the ground when I talk about it. Now for some manga I'm hoping to review. I've already mentioned that I'm doing a read-along for Fullmetal Alchemist. So with that one, on my Patreon, I'll have reading sprints with some of my friends, Alex, Patrick, and Jess, because they're reading them alongside me. So we're reading 6 volumes roughly a month, and then we'll have a live show discussion at the beginning of December is the plan for right now. But I wanted to do reviews for every 6 volumes in September, October, and November. So the first 6 would be taking place this month, and then the next 6, and then the next 6. And this one, typically when I would do reviews, I would like them to be closer together, but this one I'm going through kind of slower because I want to make sure that people who are reading alongside us have time to get their hands on volumes, get them in from the library, things like that. And also Fullmetal doesn't really have set arcs like a lot of other manga does, so I'm just breaking it up by 6 volumes. So the first one will hopefully be up very soon. After that, I also want to pick up Vagabond. I mentioned how Monstress has gorgeous art. That's a comic series. When it comes to manga, Vagabond's art is amazing. It is so good. And on top of that, the story sounds really compelling, very introspective, and it's a story about a real person who existed. And so I'm very excited to read that one. It's not completed. So that's the downside. It's kind of why I've put off picking up Vagabond for so long. It's one of my husband's favorites, but I would like to jump into it. And I'm planning on doing that one by its arcs. The arcs are broken up strangely. It's not like, oh, every this many issues is basically an arc. Sometimes it's just a few, and then sometimes it's a lot. So I'll probably do that one by arc. The first few I plan on probably reviewing here in September. And then I'm going to take a break for a bit in the month of October because there's some other ones I just feel like fit perfectly in October. So I'll take a break from Vagabond and then revisit it in November and December. The ones that I'm hoping to pick up in October are Witch Hat Atelier and The Promised Neverland. If you haven't seen, I reviewed the show's first season, the anime, for The Promised Neverland. It is perfect. It's so good. It's the perfect thing to watch in October, especially. It seems like it's going to be charming and cute. The characters, the kids look all sweet and lovely. And then you start watching and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so dark. So highly recommend watching the anime. But I know that the anime left out a lot in its from first season to second season because there's only 2 seasons. And so I really wanted to fill in the gaps. I cannot just do probably the individual arcs for reviews because they're so short and it would feel, I don't know, it would feel like I'm milking it. And there's so many other things that I want to review. So I'm probably going to combine several arcs at a time when I review those ones. But Witch Hat, oh my gosh, the art on that one looks so great also. So I'm really excited for those 2 for October. That is why I'm taking a break from Vagabond in October. In December, Vinland Saga. The next volume comes out in December. I've said in previous years that Vinland Saga is the perfect thing to read in the winter because it is. I've been talking about Vinland Saga for years. For the longest time, it felt like I was the only person on BookTube talking about Vinland Saga because it is so good. It's been on the shelves for a while. Vinland Saga is amazing. The anime is also fantastic. It's so good. And it's perfect for the winter. So I'm going to reread those volumes, and then the last one will come out in December, I think it's going to be the last one will come out. And then, so I'll be breaking those up by each week. I'll talk about a certain amount each week. Those have arcs, so I'll talk about each arc with it and Vagabond in December. On top of all of those, there's also some shows. We're being spoiled with fantasy shows, so I will probably review House of the Dragon. I wasn't originally planning on watching Sandman, but I'll probably watch Sandman and review that also. The Lord of the Rings show. I have been wanting to watch Vox Machina. I know way back I did a video talking about upcoming things I was excited about that weren't necessarily fantasy books. I mentioned Vox Machina. My friend Roger watched it and loved it. I'll have his channel linked. And I've been wanting to watch it since I saw the trailer for it. And then maybe if I'm feeling silly, I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to talk about What We Do in the Shadows. I love that show, and I thought maybe the week of Halloween I could do a silly, goofy video for What We Do in the Shadows. Maybe like an episode tier ranking or something. I feel like nobody would watch it, but it would be fun. That show's it's the kind of show that you say lovingly, it's so stupid. You know what I mean? It's one of those shows. It's a mockumentary about vampires who have no idea how to live in modern civilization. And the first 3 seasons are great. And this 4th season has not been my favorite. But still, that show's hilarious. So I kind of want to talk about it. But we'll see. And then I want to finally bring back my editions videos. I've only done 2 of them so far. So I did an editions video for Red Rising and an editions video for the Shades of Magic trilogy. And I wanted to do these more often, but it is very expensive. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's where I, as much as possible, try to get my hands on as many editions that exist of a certain book or series. So obviously Red Rising and Shades of Magic are both trilogies. So it didn't just cost a lot to try to get all these different editions, but they're trilogies, so I had to buy 3 books. And it was a lot. And so I'd been wanting to do these more, but I had to kind of give my wallet a break. The next ones I'm going to be doing, though, are Strange the Dreamer and Spinning Silver. I have a bunch of editions. This whole shelf now is Strange the Dreamer books, and I'm excited, and that's not even all of them. But when I say shelf, I don't mean this whole bookcase. I mean right here, which you could probably tell because this says Fullmetal Alchemist, so clearly that's not Strange the Dreamer. But regardless, I'll be doing one for Strange the Dreamer, and there's so many beautiful editions. And then Spinning Silver. I was going to do a Spinning Silver one last year, and there was one edition that for the longest time I'd get an email and be like, sorry, we still haven't sent this to you. And I was like, come on. And finally I just gave up and I ordered it. But then it wasn't winter, and I'm like, Spinning Silver is a winter book. So I wanted to wait until this year's winter to talk about Spinning Silver. So there will be editions videos for those. And even if you haven't read those, even if you don't really care about reading those books, the editions are so pretty. So hopefully you still enjoy getting to see what the books look like from different places. You can see the differences in height, different languages, special editions, all that kind of stuff. One last thing, I'm hoping to do a read-along basically for the entirety of next year, focused on Sanderson's secret projects. So I'll have some information about that going up soon. On top of the secret projects, I'm planning on rereading Stormlight Archive in preparation for the 5th one that we will hopefully get in 2024. So I'm wanting to reread Stormlight Archive next year, as well as some other Sanderson books, and maybe do some themed videos that go alongside the secret projects or some of the rereads, things like that. So I'll have a informational video going up soon giving more details. That's the plan, and it's not like these are the only videos I'm going to do. I still plan on doing my new releases wrap-ups. I still plan on doing anticipated releases. I would like to do what I did last year, where I talk about a bunch of the fantasy Goodreads nominees and do Goodreads wrap-up style videos in November when the nominees are announced. And of course, all the end of the year, favorites and surprising books and things like that. So that's the plan for now. Watch me get sick, and then I immediately can't stick to this. But that's the plan for now. 5 to 7 videos a week from here until the end of the, or from here until Christmas. The reason I'm wanting to do 5 to 7 videos is because with all of these dedicated reviews I'm wanting to do, that's going to obviously take up a lot of video time each week. And I know that dedicated reviews are not everybody's favorite to watch. And so I wanted to ensure that there are still whatever it is that you like to tune in for, I wanted to make sure that I still have that while also having the dedicated reviews for those of you that are interested. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll put some information for what I'm planning to read in the description bar and maybe a rough idea of when I'm wanting to read what. So if you're wanting to read it too, you'll know when we can try to basically read it at the same time. But anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you all later. Bye.